announced yesterday, Pro Football Hall of Fame. A lot of big names here for the first timers. The gold ones are the first times, you know, they're up for the, the very first time. You got to retire, and then 5 years later, you can be put on this list. Peyton Manning, Jared Allen, Calvin Johnson, Charles Woodson. That's a lock. But I want to focus on a guy that doesn't get a lot of love, Fred Taylor. Let's look at this guy in his career. I feel like the mid-tier players sometimes get overshadowed, especially when you play in the secondary market. Man, this guy has more rushing yards than O.J. Simpson, more rushing TDs than Thurman Thomas. Grew up watching Thurman, loved Thurman. More yards per carry than the great Walter Payton. Jim Brown even said it. He's one of the best that he's ever seen. He did this in Jacksonville, a small market, an expansion team. He started his career in the toughest division in football, the AFC Central. If you guys don't remember the AFC Central, check it out, look it up, Google it. Fred Taylor should be headed to Canton. I'm tired of our mid-tier players being overshadowed. This is a guy, if he was in a big market, would be going to Canton on the first thing smoking.
Speaking of smaller markets, Buddy Hield wants out of Sacramento. Bogdan went to Atlanta, and if you Rob Perez took some screenshots of Buddy Hield's Twitter. Buddy Hield starts liking stuff, and then he liked a picture that showed if it says if he was crying there, staying there. So listen, here's the plan. I know everyone's gonna be like, oh, untenable, get him out of there. King's social media, this is your chance to shine. Just respond with like LOL on Buddy Hield's tweets. And just be like, hey, what are we gonna do? Send some emojis and just make a big joke of it. You don't need to have the big meeting in Sacramento. Oh, what are we gonna do to build the team? You got a decent little team. Just signed Aaron Fox. You guys can make a little run at it. So social media teams, come through, find your favorite emojis, start having a little emoji war. Make a big joke out of it. Otherwise, the whole thing's gonna collapse.
Trade Buddy Hield to a team that could use him. That's my recommendation. Here, speaking of Bogdan Bogdanovic, he is a Hawk. He should be a Buck. And I'm going to, even though it's probably going to hurt my chances of getting a vote for the upcoming NBA awards, shame on you, NBA league office. The whole point of the tampering rules is to prevent major markets from poaching small market players. The Bucks are doing everything they can to keep Giannis. They were on the cusp of an amazing offseason. Trade for Drew Holiday, do a sign and trade for Bogdan Bogdanovic. Now, did they do it a few days early? Sure. But who's hurt by it? The Kings wanted to do it. Bogdan wanted to do it. They wanted to do it. Instead, my guess is Miami or Dallas, who wants Giannis, files a tampering complaint about a trade they're not involved in. The league steps in and says, Bogdan, you can't go to the Bucks. Giannis is in Greece saying, the hell we gonna do now? If Giannis leaves Milwaukee, it will in part be because of this. Bad job by the league. Turn a blind eye to it. Let the sign and trade go through. Let the Bucks try to keep Giannis. No one's hurt by that.
I like it. Hey, Giants kicker Graham Gano has not been at Giants practice. He's been quarantining the last couple of weeks in a hotel room. And much like I have brought this studio into my bedroom along with a Peloton, a rowing machine, and an entire set of weights, Graham Gano in his hotel room set up a kicking net so he too can bring work home. He does what he does, I do what I do. 3 observations. If you watch closely, get your face in and squint. Number 1, that net is way too close to that window. That's not your window, buddy, so be careful. Number 2, there appears to be looks like a car seat, a baby car seat, right in line with where he's kicking on the other side of the net. It would make me way too nervous to go all out at 100%. Clearly, that's not an issue for him. And my third and final issue with this, and this is a big one, you can't have Odell over for dinner. Poor taste. It would be a terrible, terrible way to set up the room for Odell coming over. I'll say no more. Let's move on. We gotta head to Pittsburgh, where Big Ben has looked just as good, if not better, than he did before elbow surgery, which sidelined him for all but 2 games last year. Steelers are 10-0. Whispers of a perfect season dancing all around them. Quieted only by Big Ben's comment this week that, quote, we're not chasing perfection, we're chasing Lombardis. Nick, should Big Ben win MVP if he carries the Steelers to a perfect 16-0 season? Should that just be a gimme? They give it to him?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, no question. Every quarterback that's ever gone undefeated's won MVP. Oh, wait, that's not true? Oh, okay, well then I have to reconsider. 1972, the MVP was Larry Brown, running back for Washington. Not anyone involved with the Miami Dolphins, who went undefeated. 2007, Tom Brady had arguably the greatest season up to that point a quarterback's ever had. He won MVP, he deserved it. He wasn't even unanimous that year. Brett Favre got a vote, and some would argue Randy Moss should have won league MVP that season. Big Ben once upon a time went undefeated. Did you guys know that? He went 13-0 one year for a Pittsburgh Steelers team that went 15-1. You know how many MVP votes he got? 0. The same amount of MVP votes he should get this year as we sit here today. The Steelers are awesome. They have a pretty good offense and an amazing defense. So if you're going to find a Steelers MVP, it probably should be from someone on the amazing side of the ball, not the pretty good side of the ball. They're number 4 in points, but they're number 21 in yards. And none of Big Ben's stats jump out at you. He's 15th in yards, he's 11th in rating, he's 18th in completion percentage. And so no, of course Big Ben, even if they go undefeated, as long as Patrick Mahomes keeps doing what he's doing, this should not even be a discussion.
It absolutely should be a discussion, Nick, and maybe the system is broken. And when you look at last year, the defense ended the season really good. And they found a way to finish 8-8. So maybe Big Ben is the difference maker. It seems like we are undervaluing W's in the NFL now. Like, you continue to devalue it with your Nick Wright tears that we'll look at probably in another 10 minutes or so. But Big Ben is the difference maker in this organization. Let's look at the first 6 games. He was playing some of the best ball of his life. He had 11 touchdowns, 1 interception, 109 passer rating. And then we had this week 7 letdown, meltdown, where everybody's like, oh, this is the Big Ben of old. This is what we expect. This is what we want to see from Big Ben. He's done it his entire career, turned the ball over, careless with the ball. But we forget that 2 of those picks wasn't on him. One was a tip pass. The other was a Hail Mary to end the first half. And then what has he done since then? Oh, just start playing some of the best ball of his life. So I think it comes down to Mahomes and Big Ben when you look at him getting his team in position to win a Super Bowl and also playing lights out. So I think you have to have this conversation, Kevin.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I 100% agree. And I know you're looking at me and be like, this guy's got it together, got a nice head of hair, seems personable. Not true. Not true. I'm just a simple man with a small, tiny brain, like a malnourished mouse. And you know what? When I'm thirsty, I drink, and when I have to have an itch, I scratch it. And I also look at quarterback wins, just like the caveman that I am. And I know that Football Outsiders, DVOA, has the Saints third. Excuse me, has the Steelers third behind the Saints and Bucks, and the 538 ELO has them behind the Chiefs and Saints. But the WILDES has them first at 10-0. And last year, they were 8-8. And what was the big difference? It was Big Ben. So I know we can debate the semantics of the word valuable, but if a team goes from 8-8 to undefeated, I think the quarterback of the undefeated team deserves recognition. So I still think it's Patrick Mahomes' award, Nick.
Bravo.
And just before Nick,
that's a good take, Nick.
You played some dirty pool. You know, I got to address it because he's the king of stats. You played some dirty pool with the Dolphins because you know they platooned at quarterback. So no one went 14-0 because somebody broke their ankle. So that was a little dirty pool by you. I just want to point it out for the viewers.
Okay, well, that's an accurate historical point, and good job by you. I've got another accurate historical point. You know whose team also was 500 last year without their injured quarterback? The Chiefs. The Chiefs. They went 500 last year in the games Patrick Mahomes missed. And this year, they are 9-1. And I thought Brandon's graphic was really fascinating because what we're saying is, let's just remove one game from Big Ben's statistical resume. That's great. Let's remove one game from all the quarterbacks.
One game doesn't make or break your season.
Well, Well,
One
without
game doesn't
one
make or
game,
break your season.
Mahomes
But now
is
look-
also undefeated. So congrats to Patrick
Listen,
Mahomes.
we're talking about
He's
statistics.
9-0.
We're talking about.
Okay, so but no.
We're talking about
okay,
statistics.
I don't even care about that game.
How many
we can
teams
throw
have
that game
finished
out,
undefeated?
Brandon,
How many
hold on.
teams have
Let's just-
finished undefeated?
wait,
It's almost
wait,
like Russell Westbrook finishing with a triple-double. When you do things that doesn't happen in sports, you need to be acknowledged for that. And that's all we're saying is if he finished this season 16-0, it needs to be acknowledged.
It will be acknowledged. He will be known as a quarterback who led a team to going 16-0. It'll be acknowledged. It'll be on his Hall of Fame plaque. No doubt about it. But but statistically speaking, I think it is fair. Let's just throw out that Titans game. So that I was doing the math in my head. He has a 107 rating without that Titans game, 22 touchdowns, 2 picks. That's an unbelievable year. Is it as good as Patrick Mahomes, 27 touchdowns, 2 picks, and a 115 rating?